get going, we're circling back to an old favorite of ours, a deck that we've spent a lot of time in the immediate post-MH3 era tuning and brewing, and one that honestly we really should have done this sooner. I was kind of really distracted by how good Quantum Riddler was when Starfield Shepherd got printed. Um, but I think there's a lot to like about good old Green White Ritual at the moment. Like Green White Ritual is a deck that I think is very good when Tron is popular and not like the normal Eldrazi ramp. Not that that deck is not that common at the moment, but Tron is definitely the more popular deck. And quite simply, White Orchid Phantom very good against Tron when you're main decking 4 and can flicker it. Not so good against the not so good against the regular Eldrazi ramp deck. And I think this is a deck that's also very good against Boros and Prowess, two decks that are quite important to be strong against. And I think you have a lot of tools against all of the other top decks in the format too. Um, the big thing is that we're playing Starfield Shepherd in the main deck, which is, it's not Quantum Riddler, but it is pretty dang good in this deck, and this deck is very reliant on getting like all the guides and all the prides in play that you can, and really flooding the board. And so one thing that's nice about this deck is you're not really very reliant on Felia. Like Felia is a very powerful card, but Felia is also a fragile card. Felia is a card that's pretty easy to break up. Felia is bad at multiples. We are playing one copy, but we're just like not as in on like trying to cheat this like big Quantum Riddler into play. So unless you play like a little bit of a lower to the ground game plan, Brightglass Gearhulk is also still like a very, very, very powerful card advantage spell to Birthing Ritual into, or even to just hardcast. In addition to the Guides and the Prides, we have a Haywire Mite and a Static Prison that you can get game 1 off the Gearhulk, and then post board we have another Haywire Mite, a Pithing Needle, and a Ghost Vacuum for a little bit of extra Gearhulk value. And I was kind of thinking initially, like when we were like not playing this deck, when we were working on all of the Quantum Riddler ritual builds, that I wouldn't really want to play this version because Quantum Riddler is so good. But the thing is, this version is very, very good at keeping its hand full without Quantum Riddler, so I think it's fine to lean into this and not need to splash with the Riddler, which is very awkward on the mana base, especially with the Flagstones that I think you really want to play. Another thing about this deck is that we're no longer playing Eternal Witness. One thing I love about not playing Eternal Witness is our mana gets a lot better to not have a double green 3-drop, which has always been a little bit awkward with all the basic planes you want to play, especially now with Starfield Shepherd, the Flagstones, and the Witch Enchanters. But I just don't think that this is really a format where looping Eternal Witness is something that you can plan to do so game 1 a lot of the time. Like, it's just not a good plan against Boros Jeskai, Prowess, Affinity, like all of these decks. It is something that you would want to play to against stuff like Titan, sometimes Storm, but it's still even slow in those matchups. And I think that it is fine to move away from it these days. I was trying to play one copy of Springheart Nantuko for a little while. Ended up feeling like I wanted like the third Skyclave instead, so I could bridge into the Gearhulk. I wanted the first Static Prison more. But like one Nantuko to start copying stuff that might end up getting in the deck. All right, gonna keep this on the draw. New matchup. They're gonna mold a 6 on the play here. They don't even have art for this Ragavan anymore. All right, just gonna block. Oh, sure. People don't attack with their Ragavans enough. All right, Thraben Charm can deal with the Goblin Bombardment if we want it to. I think I'm interested this turn instead, though. White Orchid Phantom on my Flagstones, and then next turn, if I miss my land, I can just tutor a basic Plains with Starfield Shepherd and then play that and Birthing Ritual. The Bombardment is a little scary, though. I think against the onboard Bombardment, I'm a little less interested in this, although we do have the Thraben Charm. I also wouldn't hate drawing a land, of course. What's Boromir for? Just feels like a lot of removal spells get around him. Solitude Leyline. It's very important to have like a protection spell for sweepers, in my opinion, that you can a protection spell for sweepers that you can ritual into. It also is very good against Neoform, so it's a sideboard card against Neoform. It's also a card that I generally like against Blink, where against Blink, it's a card that stops their Solitudes from being evoked. Also, you said it gets around like Solitude. It stops the Solitude evoke, by the way. But it stops the Solitude evokes, and then it also stops their sideboard like Wrath of Skies, or they have to deal with it before they Wrath of Skies. It's just important to have an anti-sweeper card in this deck, in my opinion. And so you have that and Gaddock Teeg as that. So I guess they do get to hit me with the Ragavan. Yeah, Mite also takes up a bombardment, but the thing is they have the bombardment in play to kill the Mite, so it's like not super realistic, I think, to rely on that happening. Nice. So I'm definitely gonna get a Pride. Just, do I get the Static Prison, or do I get another Guide, or do I get another Pride? I think I'm gonna grab the Static Prison. So they've got 2 cards in their hand. Plays a Marsh Flats. Shadow Path to exile. Oh, I know about Voyager Staff, although I don't think we'd want to grab it off of Gearhulk often enough. It's pretty expensive. Another Gearhulk? Don't mind if I do. Deck's just a bit too fair, isn't it? Alright. Go to game 2. So usually I cut the Sanctifiers. I do think I like the second Haywire Mite. I might want to play the Needle. I might want to play one Phantom. Just like killing Arita is okay sometimes. It just blocks really poorly. Boromir can be okay if we're expecting Wrath Disguise post board. Which I expect they're gonna have some amount of. We could also just try to not overcommit into Wrath. Yeah, I think I'll just play one. I think there's gonna be some situations where like the only thing we lose to is a Wrath, and we can dig for the Boromir in those situations. Not a huge update to list, but Pursuit has been way better than Overlord for me than Airship Soul Trader. Okay, that's good feedback. I'll check it out. Thoughts of Voice of Resurgence Too Fair. Okay, so Too Fair doesn't exactly describe anything. I'm sort of teasing the chatter who said this deck is too fair, because there are fair decks and there are unfair decks. I don't really know what this means. But Voice is so you could say Voice of Resurgence is too low power level, which I would say is accurate, and maybe I'm just way too semantic-y on this kind of stuff, but I just need very clear language to understand what y'all are asking sometimes. But yeah, I'll take a look at Pursuit for Soul Trader. Also, maybe Yigra instead. Although I guess you'd want it for the Soul Trader combo stuff. Does Boros consider this a grindy matchup? They should. I don't know if they will, I guess. They absolutely should. Did you see a Samwise and Stouthearted here? No, you didn't. I'm sorry. I wish you did. So if they can play 2 creatures here, they can jump the Ragavan. Like, what I really like about this deck is that you just get to play great cards that happen to work well with Birthing Ritual. You know what I mean? We're not like, our deck isn't like low card quality until you get Birthing Ritual in play. it's high card quality, and then Birthing Ritual makes all of your high card quality better too. So you don't have to play Voice of Resurgence, you don't have to play Renegade Rallier. You know, you just get to play all good cards. Love that. So they got 2 cards. And then here's a Birthing Ritual. I do like getting to play the Temple Garden tapped if I cast this turn, I suppose. I also really like getting to Skyclave this guy. Alright, let's Skyclave the Ragavan. Started playing Modern after a long hiatus due to your blue-white energy build. Nice. Playing 3 Momo, got a second trophy. Cool. Yeah, I think we only ever played most 2. I definitely think the first copy's good. How have you liked Momo? Have I seen the spoiled fairy elf card? No, I have not. If it's officially spoiled, I'll be happy to take a look. So they got 2 cards in their hand. They have 1 energy. This is a Flage. Flage just so Flage kills the Skyclave, gives them an energy, and then gets exiled to my Sanctifier. And it gives them a 1/1. Oh, the 1/1 that lets them fly the guide, sure. And then they got a Voice of Victory. Okay, so that is pretty scary. So next turn, we're going to get hit for 6. So we're at 9 this turn. I guess we're going to hit for 7, sorry. But this turn, we just go Brightglass Gearhulk for Guide Pride. And then the following turn, we're going to get to go Guide Pride Birthing Ritual and gain a lot of life, hopefully. And maybe like find a Solitude. We could also find Static Prison, I suppose. I think Guide Pride's going to be okay. Maybe I could have taken a different approach here. It seems okay. How about this Goblin Command? Okay, I thought this card sucked, I guess. Okay, make a token that's a copy of target goblin you control. Creature. Okay, I hate this usually, although I guess it's okay with this copy, but I just usually hate when 5 mana spells give your stuff haste. I guess it's okay if you make a goblin copy. This where artifact or creature is kind of nice. You mill 5, put each goblin mill this way into their hand. I don't know. This card is 5 mana. Maybe I'm over-hating it. But like Goblin just usually isn't a deck that's great at making 5 mana. Where did to top deck Flage or Bombardment, by the way? Maybe I'm over-hating it. Maybe like with Soul Trader or Skirk Prospector, you're realistically casting this some amount of the time. I don't know. I'll try to keep an open mind to it. Just seems too high on the curve to me, though. Yeah, I think it's still Guide Pride Shepherd here. Or sorry, Guide Pride Ritual. Although maybe we don't have that many outs. So we're going to get to gain 2 more life on our instep. So I think I want to stack the triggers like this because another guide would give me 2 extra life. Although I guess that would still put me exactly dead because I have no flying blockers. So I need to hit like a Solitude. Okay, I did hit a Solitude. Now what's nice about exiling the guide here is the Solitude gets to block the attacking tokens. Although I am at 5, so I'm not even dead anyways. Thankfully we hit the Solitude here. Stabilize maybe. It's been great. Allows for some 3-mana taxing flyers in the board. So like Clarion Conqueror. Any ones other than Clarion Conqueror? Alright. Boros matchup's really good with green-white. We're going to keep this on the draw. On the topic of Birthing Ritual, do you rate the Simic deck at all? Has always seemed underwhelming. It's a bit too fair, isn't it? It's actually a deck that we originated on this channel. I've always felt like, you know, that the green-blue Ritual deck is very good against the entire format besides Boros, Prowess, and Domain Zoo. If you are expecting to run into Boros, Prowess, Domain Zoo, I do not recommend the deck. If you are not expecting to run into Boros, Prowess, or Domain Zoo, then I do think the deck is usually pretty good, and that's how I would rank it. So it's a little bit of a metagame call, I suppose. I think I gotta pitch the Solitude, even if it leaves me a little bit unprotected. They're trying to pay cost, but they have no mana. What could they have? Could they have Consign? Is that possibly what that means? Maybe just a misclick. Slander, Zoo is a good matchup for blue-green ritual. I mean, maybe. When I was working on the deck, it didn't necessarily feel like it was. Yeah, so we do have the Thraben Charms in the deck, maybe for the Doorkeeper Thralls. Fingers crossed, I guess. Also Static Prison. So they might have a Doorkeeper Thrall here. They might have like just a binding for my Birthing Ritual, though. We do have a Static Prison. They do have the Doorkeeper Thrall, which is so annoying. A bit too fair, isn't it? Says the chatter as you get hosed by the main deck sideboard card. Is that Leyline? So it's really good that we got that extra energy from the Solitude, I guess. A Flage, okay, pretty gross. And I just don't draw a cheap spell to double spell with the Static Prison. I guess we are going to Surveil before we do anything else. And Ephemerate's probably not too helpful here. I think we have to Static Prison this Doorkeeper Thrall. And then take 9 down to 9, and then go Gearhulk into a 1-drop and try to find a Solitude or something else to stabilize off the Birthing Ritual next turn. So they bolt me, so not instead of going to 9, I'm going to be going down to 6. Somehow if their last 2 cards are Bolt Flage, we'll lose, but or Bolt Bolt. Let's pay for that. So we'll see if they have a consign, and if they do, will they consign this? You replicating 3 times? Is something else happening? Okay. Quirky. Why didn't we Prison Hulk? We had 4 mana and that cost 5 mana. We do hit the Solitude. Ding, ding, ding. Two cards in their hand. With Flagstones. Flagstones doesn't ramp you. Flagstones puts the land into play tapped. So they wouldn't have double white to Surveil Flage into the yard here anyways. Good question, good question. Thankfully no second Doorkeeper Thrall to block the Pride here. Maybe we could have played around it. Yeah, we got kind of lucky that they consigned the Gearhulk ETB instead of playing around Solitude, I think. So you want to stack your triggers like this, I think. So that we can sack the cat tokens into other 1-drops. So yeah, definitely want to be hitting a Guide of Souls here so that I can keep paying for the Static Prison and Perpetuity. And then, yeah, why don't we just go ahead and trade the Solitude for another Gearhulk? And, I was just so afraid to play this deck for so long because Quantum Riddler is so good. But the thing is, this deck just doesn't run out of gas. And so I think it's really nice to be 2 colors. And Gearhulk is really good still. And Teeg is really good. And being 2 colors is really good. So I don't know. I think I was overly afraid of building the deck this way for too long. Okay, so I think I want the second Haywire Mite. We only have the Thraben Charms and the Static Prison as far as the Doorkeeper Thrall answers, so we're going to really try to hold those for Doorkeeper Thrall. As far as Flage goes, do we want some Sanctifiers? Do we want Ghost Vacuum? In the main deck, we have Thraben Charm as Graveyard Exile, plus just some creature exile removal. It's not... Flage is also like worse in their deck than it is in a lot of other decks. Phantom is good if they have Leyline, or if they don't have Leyline. If they do have Leyline, it doesn't do a lot unless you get rid of them. Possibly just bad in general because it doesn't block anything besides Doorkeeper Thrall and Ragavan. I guess that's not the smallest percentage of their cards, actually. So maybe we'll play like 2 Phantoms, 1 Sanctifier. Try that. We had one Felia in the list initially. We ended up cutting for Thraben Charms to be less cold to Doorkeeper Thrall. That being said, Felia's just not that good in this deck. Is the short answer. It's much worse here than it is um like Jeskai or Esper. Activity 18 months ago. Welcome back. Go Spike. Go with the bruise. Never cease. I hope not. I hope not. How much or how little is this deck a Birthing Ritual deck versus Pride plus Guide are so good? It doesn't matter what else is in the deck. So I think that saying Guide Pride are really good, it doesn't matter is reductive. Like, it's not like I just shat this into play and just ignored Guide Pride. If that was the case, also like you would see Guide Pride in more decks besides like Boros than like Quantum Energy. It's not the case that Guide Pride are so good that they just go in every shell. That being said, the theory of this deck is that all of our cards are individually strong, and Birthing Ritual powers all of them up, including Guide and Pride. Including Guide and Pride is the thesis. Okay, so no Doorkeeper Thrall is good, I guess. Good top deck. Is Conqueror unplayable? You can play Clarion Conqueror. You only have so many sideboard slots. And I think we're like pretty good against creatures in general. So that's why I'm not playing it, although you definitely could. It's a card we have played, I believe, in this archetype before. Like, look, this gives me another part of Guide Pride. Right, not a huge deal. They do target the Pride here. We'll just get another one off the Starfield Shepherd. Deck is simply too fair. So this time we want this to trigger last because we might hit Pride off the Starfield Shepherd. Although we do hit a Gearhulk. Because like I wouldn't like we do have a lot of like cheating on mana. I don't feel like this is exactly a fair way to categorize our deck here. I think we just lost a close match to Affinity and then got hosed by Doorkeeper Thrall is what happened last league. I wouldn't play it in this shell though, I think. I'm pretty happy with this 75. I guess we'll keep and put back the second ritual. We need to draw some green mana. This can only get basic planes. Got a little bit of time. Sucks that 5-mana Elspeth is so one more in this deck. I mean, I guess that's going to be the case of most 5-mana planeswalkers. Alright, we'll take one here. Might have actually been bad to not play the Flagstones. Since Flagstones, if we draw another one, we could get green mana for the following turn. Alright, let's Solitude the Swift Spear. I do like this matchup, but we're stumbling, so not exactly loving our chances this game. Yeah, a green flicker thing off Whisk could just be so crazy if they ever forget that Woodland Bellower exists. I suspect the Chatter's Ledging Ritual and Ephemerate don't cheat enough on mana. But maybe the question is how much mana is being cheated in viable decks. Hold on, yeah, I guess we surveilled this turn, then we go Skyclave next turn, and then we can go Shepherd Ritual. We don't need this Plains to do that because we could get a Plains off this if we still haven't drawn one. Yeah, so I think that the term "this deck is too fair" isn't like a good analysis in general, because like there just are fair decks and there are unfair decks. There are a lot of fair deck like Domain Zoo is like I'm casting my spells on curve and I have efficient threats and I have removal and counter magic and that's my deck. You can play fair decks. So they did put 2 cards on the bottom. Then they hit their land drop. Not looking too good here. We might be able to stabilize. We are stumbling on the draw here. Looking over at Modern Legal 6 Drops, I rediscovered Sauron. Oh, that card was really cool, huh? Okay, would have been nice to have drawn this last turn. Is Leyline Scion fair? So this is another thing about fair, right? Is um, you know, I tend to think that fair is I am I am casting cards for their mana cost. I'm not cheating on mana. I am not trying to assemble a combo that kind of breaks what you usually get for mana value. Leyline Scion blurs the lines a little bit, And I usually think once we get into this point in the conversation where Chatter's like, yeah, what is fair? It's like, it stops becoming productive a little bit. But for me, when I describe fair, I'm describing archetypally aggro control mid range. And when I describe unfair, I'm usually describing combo and big mana. This is a fair deck. My opponent's deck is a fair deck. Domain Zoo is a fair deck. And I think usually when you get past that, it stops being particularly productive. Ooh, Boomerang basics. Cool. I've not really seen the lesson build. We're dead to this Lava Dart, so let's go to get a game 2 here. Yeah, so Solitude, Subtlety, Forcible, these are fair cards in my opinion in fair decks. I know it doesn't exactly meet my definition either. I know it's a little bit abstract. I'm a huge big hypocrite, but yeah, I tend to think of these as fair cards and fair decks, despite you cheat on mana with them, and it's a little bit more abstract than that. I know. Could bring in a Damping Sphere. It's a bit awkward if I have like Damping Sphere into like Starfield Shepherd Ephemerate or something like that. I do want to multi-spell a lot. Boromir also is kind of interesting, stopping like Plotted Slickshot Show Off, Flashback Lava Dart, Mutagenic Growth Bobble. We'll play one, I think. Sometimes I think Spike has some great yaps, and I realize we probably talked about this so many times. Yeah, I mean, that's how the yaps get tuned, I guess. I kind of prefer Floodmaw over Boomerang. Yeah, maybe. Boomerang does let you like bounce your own Bobble. Say that 5 times fast. You get to bounce your own Bobble and get like an extra prowess trigger, draw a card. Damping Sphere is brutal. Maybe I've definitely been on the prowess side, and my opponent has boarded in Damping Sphere, and just because they like did nothing to affect the board turn 2, they lose really hard. That being said, like this is a dynamic for prowess like a year ago, 2 years ago. So like I agree that maybe the dynamic has changed, but that's why I don't like to bring it in, is because I've had bad experiences, or I've had good experiences on the prowess side when my opponents bring it in. But you can play one. Yeah, I think Phantom's pretty solid. It blocks Show Off pretty well. Sometimes like you do just get them out of basics or get them off of blue mana. Definitely not the best card ever, but not too bad. All right, I guess I will play the second Pride here. It's good. I'm almost never gonna want to Solitude Ephemerate, so let's not shock. I think they might be on Storm Chaser's Talent. I'm probably correct. Yeah, Storm Chaser's Talent, not a card I have almost any experience playing with in Modern or Standard, but a little bit of experience playing it in Standard, I guess. Huh. So second main phase, so they don't have to attack with the Channeler is interesting. I think we want a Curious Farm Animals in the board. What is that? For exactly Blood Moon? I mean, we have Witch Enchanter in the main for Blood Moon. Oh, is that the new, like, shape-shifting... Oh, I drew Guide of Souls. Is that the new shape-shifting Rexage? Because I can't play that. Not yet. It's the White Fungus. When this creature dies, gain 3 life, sack a creature, destroy 1 artifact or enchantment. Oh. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Blood Moon's a big problemo, especially with the Witch Enchanters. It's a Boar Elk Bird Ox, and it's a 1/1. That's my Boar Elk Bird Ox. Right, I think on the draw I'll play 1 Phantom over 1 Boromir. Why play that with Mite? Because you can sack it for white mana instead of green mana. Or generic mana would be the reason. But I think in general, I'd rather just play Mite. It's a non-flying bird. You don't know anything about. I guess it's a penguin farm animal. Well, gotta mulligan this, I guess. Let's see if my opponent keeps 7. They're thinking too. I guess I put back the Gearhulk. I'm not really sure. Yeah, and I think I should put back the Shepherd. Because I'm probably pitching one or the other to the Solitude, but I think I might as well just give myself the ability to pitch the Gearhulk instead. I love when they turn one preordained. Y'all remember when Grixis Shadow was a top tier deck? And sometimes they would just cast preordained turn 1, and it was just when they would cast preordained turn 1, it was so much easier than when they did anything else. They do put 2 cards on the bottom. Do you have a favorite basic land art? I like the Return to Ravnica basic forest with like the city with the red rooftops. Don't think I'm going to Solitude quite yet. A lot of good top decks too. Would block us with Spear, so I guess I'm not attacking. When was this? I mean, long before I was even a streamer. Oh, so not preordained, Serum Visions. They wouldn't preordain, they would Serum Visions. Of course. Yeah, I think this is it. Yeah, this is my favorite basic land. I really like how the background kind of fades in like an evening mist. Uh-oh. Your mom lets you have 2 Corey Steel Cutters. Okay, it's probably the right time to Solitude. Big turn for top decks also. They've got 3 cards still. Well, not looking too good. Doesn't even have protection from the tokens. Best possible. So probably chump blocking with a Pride this turn. The thing is, like, how can they, like, they with all these surveils, how can I not be dead next turn? Seems so impossible. They can even just activate the talent and lightning bolt if they have nothing. Great draw from them. All right, we continue. Okay, on the draw, round 4. Like having Solitude Ephemerate. My opponent's kept 7 on the play. Maybe Revenge against Prowess here. If this is Prowess, I'm kind of interested in just leading on the Lush Portico. So I'm not playing the Pride into a turn 1 Lava Dart. And I also might just be interested in pitching this to Solitude and then setting up to Gearhulk outgrind my opponent. We get pretty punished because this is Storm. Which is a pretty tough matchup game 1 anyways, but we have a lot of sideboard cards. I always kind of like playing at Storm because it's to some extent you just get to take a little break. Let your opponent do the thinking for you. I have a different feeling, Are You Prowess? It's the patient Prowess players that scare me. I agree that the patient prowess players are intimidating. I guess I don't know what opinion I had that you're disagreeing with though. All right, they hit a Row maybe and a Metamorphose. Looking pretty bad. They also got the Surveil Passive Flames in the yard. Like, okay, I mean, I'm gonna Solitude. Do I Ephemerate the Solitude? I think I will. Come on, Storm. You're really good at fizzling, right? Just that their turn one period draws are safe. I get cooked by those a lot. Oh, I guess I just wouldn't say that that is what makes a patient prowess player. Oh, sorry, I should have let the first trigger resolve first. It's just like that would they like if you're prowess and you have Channeler, Swift Spear, Preordain. If you have any three of those one drops, you're always going to play a creature before you play a Preordain. And so turn one Preordain just means they didn't have a creature turn one, which is always better for you. That's all I was trying to say. Wait, I might actually get the rebound Ephemerate here. Oh, they just passed in flames. Okay. Well, let's go to game 2. Okay, so we're gonna bring in the Chance. I think the second Mite, it got a lot better once these decks started playing Artist Talent. I want the Sanctifier. One thing I don't like about Gaddock Teeg is this basically says you can't cast Passive Flames, but Sanctifier says that a little bit better. Not, obviously, I want the Damping Spheres too. I don't want these Phantoms. Thraben Charm can be good against Artist Talent and Passive Flames. So it's like we have 4 anti-Passive Flames cards. We also really want Teeg. I don't really think so. I'm going to cut all the Gearhulks. I do think the Skyclaves are solid. I think I'll probably cut an Ephemerate. You preordain first if you need land? Not necessarily. Like, you would preordain first if you need land if you have Steel Cutter also, but not if you don't have a 2-drop. You would play DRC or Swift Spear first most of the time. Well, we got sideboard cards, and we got Guide Pride for pressure. What we don't have is a second land. Let's do some hyper geometric calculating. So we have 23 lands, although 2 of them are tap lands. Although the tap lands are fine to draw on turn 1. We need to draw 1 really in the top 2. So population size right now is 53, and then this is already a mulligan to 6. And then the successes are going to be 22. We're 66% to hit. And yeah, I think that's going to be fine for me. Maybe I lead on Haywire Mite. Now let's play the Pride turn 1. Is trying to tune the sideboard for Gearhulk targets too slow. Deafening Silence would be nice. Yeah, I mean, obviously Deafening Silence is good against Storm, and you're happy to draw it. Okay, we drew a second Damping Sphere. You're happy to draw it, but the thing is, like, Gearhulking for Deafening Silence isn't exactly a plan in this matchup, I think. Maybe it's like that this was a possibility. I'm going to leave up the Haywire Mite sack, I suppose. Solitude for Ral does seem pretty nice, honestly. Fingers crossed. Silence would be good here because it costs 1 mana, and we only had 1 mana this turn. So they've got a Metamorphose and 7 other cards in their hand. They lead on the Ritual. They also have Past and Flames in the yard already. There's the Ruby Medallion. Well, gotta do this now, although they get to respond. Rewarded for leaving up the Haywire Mite. We'll see if it's enough. They're going to have 5 mana here. Past and Flames cost 5 to flash back. They shouldn't have any more rituals in their hand, though. There's the Row. 5 cards in their hand. Rin's Resolve. 2 mana floating. They hit a Ruby Medallion and a Mountain. That's kind of good news. So hopefully they just play this Ruby Medallion. They have another Manamorphose. So I think the next spell that wins a flip flips the Ral. I'm on the edge of my seat here. I did see that Snare is coming to Standard. I don't exactly know how important that is, but it's cool. I really, really like Spell Snare. Spell Snare is one of, like, for a long time, it was like a top 5 favorite card of mine. My hunger for the Aspiring Spike preview card video is truly ravenous. Soon. All right, they won the flip. Ral is so egregious. I'm kind of Momo Archon of Ephemerate brewing. I need to look at those lists. Yeah, I mean, I think you want to... Someone was saying they were doing that in Quantum Riddler earlier today. The Quantum Energy. All right, they hit... Wait, they hit just a Grape Shot. Let's go! Ral sucks! Ral's so bad. So do I Sanctifier or do I Damping Sphere next turn? I don't know. The Sanctifier exiling the Grape Shot and the Pass and Flames is pretty cool. Probably safer to Damping Sphere. I'm drawing a Solitude for turn also. With Snare and Pioneer. Oh, no, I guess it's probably a huge deal for Pioneer, huh? Almost our anniversary. I'll see you next month, Max. Thank you for the 47. Appreciate you. All right, so let's see if they've got a ending stuck in their hand here. They go ahead and play Mountain. They play a Ruby Medallion. I don't even remember. I guess that was hit. Oh, that was hit off the Reckless Impulse. That's right. Huh? They Prismatic Ending second. So not too often you get to see that happen, I guess. All right, so we'll play Guide and then we'll play Second Sphere. So let's see if they have a second Prismatic Ending. They Reckless Impulse and they hit a Prismatic Ending. Nauseating, dude. Prowess and Pioneer is 42% meta share. Gross. So if they have another ritual, they can win the game this turn. If not, the Sanctifier can contain them here. Or next turn can contain them. All right, big deal. They're down to 8 also. They do keep a card on top. Okay, I don't have a white card for the Solitude anymore. In their instep, they're doing something weird. Does using 2 of your opponent's endings make Sanctifier a stronger presence on the board in this matchup? Well, it definitely doesn't make it a weaker presence, you know what I mean? So I guess we're hoping to hit Skyclave? No Ranger Captains in this build. We do hit the Skyclave. I'm going to go after the Ral. Obviously, now we are weaker to Past in Flames. So we did just exile a whole mess of stuff. I think it's fine. The Ral Ultimate, I think, was more threatening. Although with them being at 6, like if they were like at 3 or 4, then we could maybe have ignored Ral a little bit easier. Okay, start off with a ritual. Then they wish. Could be Stormscale Scion, which might be beatable because we have Solitude. Then they Reckless Impulse from hand, which is very, very weird that they would wish first. I have no idea why they did that. Did you see the answer to Magasimi you can get off Summoner's Pact? It's better than Roxanne. Alright, so they've Past in Flames, Reckless Impulse. I think they hit another wish just now. They only have 1 mana, no ritual, and exile. No mana left. Pretty big deal. Squee with a 74 big booms. feel like they just did not. They just cast. Oh my gosh, we do Orm's Chant. Huge. Do I wait for them to cast a spell? I guess it doesn't matter because they're just gonna be dead, basically. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I did see that card. All right, I guess we don't want to give them a blocker. Oh, it's also a Sylvan Scrying. Yeah, that card seems insane for Titan. I remember that. Yeah. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, it's green. Search for any land, put it into your hand. Red. Kill a creature. Great sideboard card. You can also green Sun Zenith for it, right? Oh no, you can't because you have to have cast it to get the effect. All right, you have anything? Or are we going to game 3? Do you think in hindsight keeping Sanctifier is better play? I don't. I really think killing I think the Ral is a lot scarier than like a possible Past in Flames, but I'm willing to believe I was wrong. Boromir does stop Ral ults, although I think we just have too many anti-Ral cards. Maybe I could Needle Ral. Needle Ral plus Sanctifier is pretty good. I think this Ephemerate's also pretty bad in this matchup anyways. Boromir could be good against oh, it gives indestructible, so it doesn't stop. It does not stop Prismatic Ending. Ephemerate does on Sanctifier. I think we're just gonna do this. Where you played Ewit plus turns, could be Ewit Chant Ephemerate. That's been a big part of this archetype in the past, and I think it's just not very well positioned at the moment. Yeah, you have to needle Ral Leyline Prodigy, not the other part of Ral. Guess we'll go to 5. Don't love going to 5, of course. Yeah, Vacuum is really bad against Past in Flames. If we had Lantern instead of Vacuum, we could bring it in, though. So maybe you could make that switch. Not getting Sacred Foundry is interesting. I think this turn it's Haywire Mite. Maybe next turn we go Birthing Ritual plus Static Prison. Come boost with the 50 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Shepard seems slow. I mean, we have a lot of cards that are kind of slow in the matchup. Let me know if you feel like there's something I missed in sideboarding, like that you think would be better. Yeah, we just never updated this deck with Starfield Shepherd, but I feel like it was actually right to all along is sort of the short thesis here, I suppose. I was just a bit too Quantum Riddler brained, I guess. Have I thought any more about the new World Champion card? Well, we're gonna play a lot of that guy. I haven't started building decks with it, but it's gonna be very good, I think, and we'll play a lot of it. Alright, 6 cards in their hand here. Yeah, Teeg stops Passive Flames. We also have Thraben Charm and Sanctifier. Oh, Teeg stops Prismatic Ending. Okay, yeah, sorry, we should have had Teeg. I don't know why I forgot that it stops Prismatic Ending. Good call, good call. They mulligan? No, we mulled a 5. This was a 7. Yeah, but there's just like almost infinite shells for Formidable Speaker. It feels like it's just not one I can even talk about without I just need to start deck building with it. So with this to resolve first, if we hit Guide of Souls, looking mostly for Sanctifier, I guess. We do hit the Guide of Souls though. So they're at 12, and we have 3, 5, 6, 7, 11 damage. Not exactly 12. Yeah, I basically always wait for the whole set to come out to start deck building. Gotta build the PowerPoint first, too. They hit a Ral and a Mountain. 3 cards in their hand, in addition to the Ral and the Mountain. They play the Mountain, then they play the Ral. Will elves be good in modern, or is that cope? Will elves be epic and unstoppable, or will it be unplayable trash? I don't know. It's usually somewhere in between is the answer. They have Manamorphose. I do think that there's a couple of good tools, and we have like done somewhat well with Elves post MH3 sometimes, but I think Elves is pretty bad in this Boros prowess heavy metagame, and I think Elves is pretty good against most other decks. All right, they got 4 cards, or 4 mana, 2 cards. 10 life points, so they're pretty dead now if they can't kill me. Maybe that's obvious. Past in Flames is probably lethal here. I mean, not 100%, but very good chance. Yeah, damn. All right, I'm going to go refill my water while we probably lose this one. Me, your friend, Aspiring Spike. What's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike. Is there good Elfos printed? I think the 4/4 Champion and Elf card you'd play as a 1-of Court of Calling 2 to target. You might want to play Formidable Speaker. Those were the 2 that are kind of on my radar here. All right, there's a Grave Shot. I'm at 30 live. Although they could probably hit me for 30 here. Yeah, they could just cast this Grape Shot, then cast this Past in Flames. All right, let's concede. All right. 2 and 2. Fall back down to earth here. If Solitude Ephemerate's good, this hand's a keep. Probably good enough for me to try. Another Steam Vents over there. So we played against... I guess the we played against Affinity, we played against Domain Zoo, and now this is probably Affinity also. Have I seen the Slippery Boggle bonus sheet? I did see that Slippery Boggle was on the bonus sheet. I don't think it's necessarily the most interesting. Great image with the 19 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. Is Mox Jasper played in Commander? I mean, probably. What isn't played in Commander? Speaker looks good. Maybe some Asmo Revival. I mean, I guess it's possible. Okay, so it's Wizards instead. They grab a counter spell. So I guess we're hoping to draw a green source. We did draw the green source. Does that mean I'm gonna cast the Birthing Ritual though? I think it's got to mean that. Because if they if they flare the Pride, we get to attack with it. We could also Solitude the Trainer, but I think I want to be able to Ephemerate the Solitude. Yeah. Right, they attack with a Tamio. Kind of hoping not to get Flame of Anord. Right, I think I need to be able to Ephemerate Solitude so that I can get my Birthing Ritual going. So let's go ahead and pitch the Thraben Charm, I guess. Hopefully they don't flare this or subtlety this. Good move. All right, looking kind of bad. I guess we got just so punished for not Solitude Ephemerating last turn. So now I guess we can freely say no to paying for Static Prison. Thing is, my opponent also just has Counterspell in their hand. It's going to be so tough to unbury ourselves. We just have nothing we can top, or nothing here. At the very least, they are missing their land drops. the missing the land drops is kind of good. We can just try to draw 2 things to deploy. Although we currently have 0 still. Could maybe be moving to game 2 soon. They might let something like a 1 or 2 mana creature resolve here, because they might want to save their counter magic and use a removal spell. Although we do have to draw literally anything to even think about this. Okay, so they might let this resolve with the intention of killing it with a removal spell, and then our Ephemerates are live to still get a Birthing Ritual trigger, potentially. That being said, hitting a White Orchid Phantom here is not going to really get the job done. Shout out Voice of Resurgence. All right, let's go to game 2. I think I messed up going for just trying to resolve the ritual instead of getting Solitude Ephemerate down that turn. I'm just kind of used to resolving the ritual being the most important thing in these kind of matchups. I'm going to bring in the Boromirs. I think I'm going to cut the Static Prison and the Haywire Mite. Needle for Flip Tomio could be okay, although they are a Flame of Venor deck. Ghost Vacuum seeming kinds of interesting. We're probably going to get to this point in the game, and it's going to go against Snapcaster and Tomio. It's also kind of a good value Gearhulk grab. I think I'd like to cut both Thraben Charms. Bring in probably both Sanctifiers down a Phantom. Yeah, let's try this. They counter their own discharge? No, they didn't. What? They did. I guess that was just a misclick. I think Solitude and Trainer would have been good on the Ritual turn too. Just to be able to sack the cat token into a Guide of Souls or another cat. Yeah, maybe. Thoughts on the Simic Ritual deck? That deck I think continues to be good against most things that aren't Boros and Prowess, and I think the deck's not that good against Domain Zoo. I brought that up earlier, and someone was staunchly opposed to the thought that Simic Ritual will be weak against Domain Zoo. I think I'm just going to get basic planes if this resolves. They graveyard a counterspell. Alright, they reveal a Galvanic Discharge. I'm going to get a basic forest off my Heath here so I can play around Blood Moon a little bit. Although there's the Witch Enchanter. I think I'm still going to get the forest. Yeah, it's definitely not particularly good testing just to oh, my opponent accidentally countered their own spell. We win, although we probably were still losing. Probably will just jam the Gearhulk into a counterspell. We have plenty of 5-drops to keep jamming for value. They also have 1 less counterspell in their deck here, so even though it kind of feels like they just graveyarded it because they already had one, I might have a wrong read. But next turn we can jam Starfield Shepherd or maybe end of turn Solitude would be better if they pass with all their mana up. All right, so it looks like we're going to be going for Solitude on Tomio in their upkeep. Although upkeep's a little bit worse against Subtlety, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know where the text box came from. I don't know. All right, I cast Solitude. Now, do I evoke? Yeah, I think getting this Tommy off the field is pretty important, and let's just do this now. Alright, so they got 4 cards in their hand. I'm really hoping our Starfield Shepherd resolves. We get poked for 2 by this illusion token. Again, this is not a magic trick token, Michael. I will be casting the Shepherd. Yeah, the Solitude didn't get Scoldings or Subtlety, so definitely seemed like it was going to resolve. I remember you trying out the 1 mana white energy reanimation effect, Jolted Awake. Was it any good? It was okay in the deck we played it in. We played it in a like Boros. I think it was like when it was like a Boros Corey Steel Cutter energy deck. It was fine. Wasn't anything too crazy. Alright, they reveal a lightning bolt. I probably just want to Solitude the trainer before they can Flame of Anor me. I think it's kind of likely they have a Flame of Anor in their hand. I think it's less likely they have a counter spell. Yeah, Flare is also okay because it gets the thing off the field. So I'm down to 9. They've got a Galvanic Discharge, or sorry, or a Lightning Bolt, and then something else. Sure, maybe a Flame of Anor. Okay, let's lead on Guide of Souls here. Then let's play Sanctifier. See if they kill the Guide in response. They snare. Alright, so I think it's just better to Starfield Shepherd because we know they have the Bolt. Why would they flare there? I mean, it keeps my Solitude off the field. Doesn't seem like the worst flare ever. Alright, so now they have a Bolt. Or they've used the Bolt, they've got 2 unknowns in hand that are both spells. I think it's pretty likely they have a Flame of Anor. So now their hand is 2 spells. Maybe a Snapcaster. Maybe their hand's like Snapcaster Flame. I don't have another basic land to get, so I don't think I want to fetch Shock at the moment. I think I'll just go Guide plus Pride. And they have no removal, no counter magic? Are they going to draw 2 off Flame of Anor? How could they have no removal, no counter magic? If their hand is 2 spells. Maybe they have Fire Magic? Be okay. Yeah, Fire Magic's okay. So what's their other card? Could be Flame of Anor. Probably not Snapcaster. Could be Snapcaster. Yeah, I guess it could kind of be anything. They keep another spell on top here. Holding his land as a bluff seems very unlikely. In a deck with, like, in theory, in a deck that has card advantage. Alright, we get to keep thinning the deck. On a calorie deficit. Can I draw a Gearhulk or something? Guess that's an or something. The thing is they just have 3 spells in their hand. They're all going to be interactive. None of them. Didn't kill it. Alright. Now they have Boromir. Classic Modern, I just play a creature off the top every turn, and is it control kills it every turn? Drawing the 1-drops is kind of bad, because then my, like, eventually I'll run out for my Starfield Shepherds and my Gearhulks. Why not second response? I just mostly don't think it matters. I know that I have another Boromir to ring Tim's, I guess. It might come up. I did run it by my brain and I was like, it doesn't matter, I don't think. Not a bad draw, I guess. They're gonna snap bolt me. Okay, they draw 2 with flame. I think we're about to be playing the updated Rakdos sack affinity. Go, Witch Enchanter. Go. Not looking so good, yo. Did we have Saga or is it Saga at this point? Not in this deck. It's very awkward with the Gearhulks. We did play them in like in Gearhulk decks that can play Mox Opal or Springleaf Drum. The Sagas don't matter as much because they eventually make colored mana. They do put 2 on the bottom. We'll play it out here. Thraben will be soloing my opponent right now. It's so true. All right, let's go. Let's move on. Okay, so came back down to Earth. Liking the archetype. Lost to a lot of Izzet decks. I know our record wasn't all that good, but I feel if you're really wanting to target like the Boros specifically, consider Green-White Ritual. That being said, we trophied with the updated Rakdos Sacrifice Affinity. I think you still call this Affinity because